What's up, y'all? Welcome back to GridironTalkZone. Today, I'm going to be going over my Week 6 NFL Power Rankings for the 2022 NFL season. So, these are just power rankings. I update them weekly. If you win, you have a good shot of moving up. If you lose, you have a good shot of moving down. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So, starting off at the bottom of the rankings, number 32, you see I got the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers actually just fired Matt Rule yesterday, a day after they lost to the San Francisco 49ers, 37-15 at home. The Panthers, they just haven't been able to click offensively with Baker Mayfield, Ben McAdoo. The offense overall really is just what's holding this team back. Defense, although it didn't play good last week, it's solid, but it definitely could be playing better than it has. So Panthers, just overall, I think are the worst team in football right now. I got them at 32. On to 31, I got the Detroit Lions. The Lions, so they're getting hyped up early in the year. Offensively, looking very good. Going into this past week, they actually had the best offense in football statistically, points per game wise, and the worst defense, which is odd. But now you get shut out to the Patriots in Foxborough versus Bailey Zappe, the Patriots' third string quarterback. Not a good look for the Lions. Lions 1-4 team, a team that can compete with teams, but they just ultimately don't have the coach. And as Goff has played solid, I don't think he's the quarterback either. So I feel like coach, quarterback, defense very weak on this team. Coming off a shutout loss, you're 1-4. I think 31 is very well deserved for the Lions. On to number 30, I got the Houston Texans. Texans got the first win of the year versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe the score was 13-6 in Jacksonville. So big road win. Texans are 1-3-1. They still have that week 1 tie versus the Colts. So the Texans, they move up 2 spots in the rankings because you get your first win. Your defense plays very well versus a good offensive team with a good quarterback in Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. So that's impressive for the Texans. Overall, though, you're still a 1-3-1 football team. Can't seem to get too much going offensively. So you're still at number 30, but you do move up 2 spots, getting your first win. At 29, I got the Seattle Seahawks. They were at 29 last week. They're staying put. The Seahawks lost 39-32 to the Saints in New Orleans. So overall, I don't think the Seahawks did anything to move down below in these teams and move up above any of the other teams. They ultimately played about how I expected them to play. Game was maybe a little bit higher scoring than I expected, but expected the Seahawks to lose around a touchdown or so. That's what happened. So I don't think the Seahawks have any movement right now. 28, I got the Washington Commanders. The Commanders moving down 1 spot, now to 1-4. After the end of the game, Titans, you lose by, I believe, 4 points. You had a chance at the end. First and goal at the 2-yard line, 19 seconds left. A lot of teams did this weekend, but why don't you run the football? Worst case scenario for the Commanders, say you do not get the touchdown. You're still down with like 15 seconds left, and you can, by the time you spike it, there's like 8 to 10 seconds left, and you still have 2 shots at the end zone. But the Commanders decided to throw the football 3 times straight, and on the third play, it was a pick, and the Commanders lost to the Titans to go to 1-4. But overall, the Commanders' defense has not looked impressive. Offense, not really impressive either. So this team just overall as a whole, I don't think it's well coached, and I think both sides of the ball are playing pretty poorly, and the record showing the 1-4. So I got them at 28. On to 27, the Steelers moving down 1 spot. They got obliterated or just absolutely blown out by the Buffalo Bills. You kind of expected them to get blown out though, but they're moving down 1 spot. Ultimately, without TJ Watt, this defense doesn't look good. Offensively, hasn't looked good all year, whether it's Trubisky or Kenny Pickett as the starting quarterback. I prefer Trubisky right now slightly, but I think I understand them starting Pickett because I think by the end of the year he can be better than Trubisky, no doubt, and he's just got to grow as a rookie quarterback. But we'll see how the Steelers turn out the rest of the year. But right now, it's not looking too good. On to 26, the Bears actually move up 2 spots after a loss. The Bears lost in a close one to the Vikings. It was a game that was closer than I thought it was going to be. Um, Bears ultimately went on the road. Looked like they finally got the offense going. Passing wide, Fields had his best game of the year. Defense really played poorly early on, but they picked it up throughout the last 2.5, 3 quarters, really. So the Bears are moving up 2 spots just because they competed with a 4-1 team, played very good, and you gotta look what's happening around them. Steelers, Commanders, I feel like both deserve to move down 1 spot. Bears competing with a good team, looking good offensive or looking somewhat good offensively compared to the past weeks. You got to move them up 2 spots. So Bears are at 26. Falcons lost 21-15 to the Bucks. They're staying put at 25. They actually competed a little bit more than I thought they would after being down 21-0. But that Grady Jarrett play we all know happened, the roughing the passer that they called, but pretty much everyone thinks that Grady Jarrett didn't deserve to be called for roughing the passer on that. So now the league is looking into roughing the passer because of that play and another play that happened Monday night. So overall, the Falcons, though, staying put at 25, played a little bit more impressive than I thought they would versus the Bucks, but still lost. And with what's happening above them, I don't really think they can move up. So I got the Falcons at 25. On to the next set of teams. You see, I got the Saints at 24. The Saints beat the Seahawks 39-32. With Dalton, this offense is actually looking more impressive than I thought it was. I know the Seahawks defense is pretty bad, but 39 points is still 39 points. You're facing an NFL defense, even if they're one of the worst defenses in football. Still impressive performance for the Saints. But the defense giving up 32 points is a little bit more than you'd like to see your defense give up. But the Saints are going to ultimately stay put at 24 like they were last week. Just with what's happening around them, not enough impressive win to move up. If they blew out the Seahawks like 39 to say the Seahawks only scored 15 or something, then I could see a reason for the Saints to move up. But really, I don't see any reason for the Saints to move up. So they're staying put at 24. On to 23, I got the Cleveland Browns moving down 2 spots after a tough loss to the Chargers. The Chargers and Browns game was a back and forth game the whole way. You ultimately see at the end of the game, Chargers' controversial decision to go for it on 4th and 2 in their own territory with just over a minute left. Browns ultimately got the defensive stop, got the ball back, struggled to gain too much yards. Then Cade York, I believe it was a 54-yard game-winning attempt at the field goal, missed the field goal. I believe it was wide right. So the Browns ultimately moving down 2 spots. Loss is a loss. You'll likely move down after a loss, and what's happening around them bumps them down a little bit. So moving up to 22, the Broncos, another team that moves down, they move down 3 spots after another stale offensive performance versus the Colts. The Colts Thursday night game, I already recapped it on my last podcast, but ultimately the Broncos, they moved the ball probably better than the Colts most of the game, but the offense still struggled in the red zone, struggled to put up points, struggled with bad situational turnovers. This team is just struggling as a whole offensively. Defensively, still looking pretty good, but they're bound to move down 3 spots after last Thursday night's performance. On to 21, I got the Arizona Cardinals moving down 1 spot after they lost to one of the best teams in football in the Philadelphia Eagles. Cardinals lost by 3 points. Another team that struggled situationally. There was a lot of bad situational football this past weekend. Cardinals, I believe it was a 2nd and 10. Murray runs for the first down, slides. He thinks he has it, but they called him just short because they call you down whenever you slide. So the Cardinals got to 3rd and 1, but Murray, not knowing that he was short, he went up to the line of scrimmage and clocked the ball, spiked it. So they were 4th and 1, had to settle for the field goal to tie instead of trying to go score a touchdown when they still had enough time to. And Murray, as I said, spiked it. Cardinals end up missing the field goal on 4th and 1. So just poor situational football from the Cardinals. A team that's looking like a little better now than they were the first few weeks in the season, but still not a super good team. They're going to move down 1 spot to 21. On to number 20, I got the New England Patriots shutting out the Detroit Lions. I believe it was 29-0. Just an impressive performance from the Patriots as a whole, defensively and offensively, still able to get it done with Bailey Zappi, third-string quarterback. Patriots' run game was amazing with Ramondre Stevenson. That's expected, though. Patriots have a good O-line, good running backs, and they were playing the Lions defense. But Patriots moving up 3 spots. The 2-3 right now. Seems like they could get Mac Jones back potentially next week. We'll see how the rest of the year goes for the Pats. On to 19. Jacksonville, I had them at 14 last week. They moved down 5 spots. You're now coming off 2 losses. You're 2-3. You lost to the Texans in a game you only put up 6 points. Not impressive from the Jags overall, but still have that early season resume, beating the Chargers, shutting out the Colts. Impressive early games. So that's what's keeping them in the top 20 still, but last few weeks haven't been impressive, so they're bound to move down 5. At number 18, I got the Las Vegas Raiders moving down 1 spot. Tough loss to the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. They lost 30-29. Got a play called back at the end. Just poor coaching at the end of the game, really. Went for 2 when you should have kicked the extra point, in my opinion. Would have been tied 30-30 if you make the extra point, but they went for 2, failed. So they were still down 1 point. They got the defensive stop, and they got the ball back. The Raiders had a 3rd-and-1 play. They threw it down the sideline to Adams. First, they called it a catch. Then they reversed it on the replay. Showed his foot went out of bounds before he gained total possession of the football. Then a 4th-and-1 play. You have Josh Jacobs, who's like running for a lot of yards per carry this year and last game especially. And you decide to throw the football down the field. Renfro Adams ultimately ran into each other, and the Raiders ended up losing the game. So just poor coaching. The team is 1-4. Though I still feel like they're competing in every game. They're just bad situational football is what's keeping them down. But maybe I have them a little high at 18, you could say, because they are 1-4. But I just feel like this is still a very good team that's just struggling situationally, along with the tough schedule. It just happens to be 1-4. But the Raiders are at 18, moving down 1 spot from last week. If this team continues to struggle situationally and has like a 1-7, 2-8 record through 8-10 weeks, then they're going to be in the bottom tier, definitely. But right now, I think they're still a pretty good football team that's just struggling situationally. I got them at 18. On to number 17, I got the New York Jets. Jets, big win, beat the Dolphins 40-17, I believe, in Miami. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. Two has already been out. So the Dolphins, early in the game, they had to put in Skylar Thompson, the 7th-round pick out of Kansas State, I believe, and rookie quarterback, 3rd-string quarterback. You lose 40-17. Just an overall impressive, dominating performance from the New York Jets, who are now 3-2. So they move up 5 spots. See if the Jets can keep it rolling. But right now, they're looking like a very good young team. Zach Wilson is actually looking better than I thought he would coming off the injury, but we'll see how this team continues to progress throughout the year and if they can get into the top half. But that's who's at 17. The Jets are at 17. At number 16 on the power rankings, you see I have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are a 2-3 football team, moving down 4 spots from last week after a tough loss to the Dallas Cowboys, to where it seems like the Cowboys' defensive line just really dominated the Rams' offensive line. The Rams had a big play offensively to Cooper Kupp for a 75-yard touchdown pass. Outside of that, this offense only scored 3 points on a field goal. So this offense really looked not good at all versus the Cowboys defense, who's playing like arguably the best defense in football right now. So the Rams moving down 4 spots, 2-3 football team, just looked a little sloppy all year, really. But you would think they would pick it up, but who knows? But the Rams are at 16 right now. On to number 15. Another team that hasn't looked super impressive. They are 2-1, so a little bit advantage record wise compared to the Rams, who are 2-3. You look at the Colts. Indianapolis Colts moving up 3 spots after a tough fought, low scoring win versus the Denver Broncos in week 5, Thursday Night Football. The offense executed at the end of the game, put together some drives. Alec Pierce is looking good. I think this team is making some improvements. They're going to get Shaq Leonard back, get Jonathan Taylor back. So this team, I feel once they get healthy, they're going to keep moving up, and I could see this team to the top 10 in a few weeks. I really could. But as of now, they've looked a little stale early in the year, but you're still 2-1 with wins over the Chiefs and Broncos. So that's impressive on their part. Colts moving up 3 spots. On to number 14, a team moving down 9 spots. Rare to see a team moving down 9 spots after 5 weeks in the year. On to week 6 now. The Dolphins had them at 5 last week. Lost a tough one first game of the year to the Bengals. And then this past week, you had Skylar Thompson playing quarterback most of the game, but you got absolutely blown out by the Jets. Actually, I'll take that back. It was an absolute blowout, but the Jets had control of the game most of the game until they broke away at the end and absolutely put up 40 points on the Dolphins defense. So looking at the Dolphins offensively, without Tua, offense hasn't actually looked good like at all. The defense has struggled recently compared to early in the year. So the Dolphins moved down 9 spots, still at 14 because they did win those tough games early on in the year, but 3-2 football team, so you do still got a winning record. So I think you still deserve to be in the top half of the rankings, but this team without Tua could be still moving or keep moving down week to week, but hopefully Tua comes back and this team gets back to the team they were early in the year for their sake. On to number 13, I have the Tennessee Titans. Won a tough fought game versus the Commanders, got an interception late in the game to seal it, and the Titans are moving up 3 spots. They're a 3-2 football team, 3-game winning streak for them right now, so they just keep moving up every week. Let's see if the Titans can continue winning. On to number 12, I have the Green Bay Packers. Packers moved down 4 spots. Tough loss in London versus the New York Giants. Packers really are missing Devontae Adams, in my opinion. Offensively, hasn't looked as good as past years. Aaron Rodgers, while still playing solid, pretty good actually, hasn't looked like his last 2 MVP years self. So the Packers just a little stale right now, 3-2. Hopefully they can pick it up though for their sake. But yeah, Packers moving down 4 spots. On to number 11, the Giants, 4-1 football team, lost to the Cowboys. It's the only loss, but they beat the Packers in London last week. Biggest win for the Giants team overall in years. You're looking good at 4-1. Dable's looking like he's the right head coach. Don Martindale is looking like the right defensive coordinator hire. This defense is outplaying their expectations, especially that secondary is outplaying their expectations because on paper that secondary did not look good at all going into the year, but they're playing a little bit better than I thought they would. Looks like Daniel Jones is finally getting into some sort of a rhythm. But Barkley having a very good year. He's looking like his rookie self, and this Giants team just keeps winning. So you're 4-1, only 1 loss. You're going to be high in the rankings. Got them at 11. We'll see if they can continue to move up. Got another 4-1 team at 10. This team is moving up 1 spot from last week. Vikings, not the most impressive win. They are 4-1, but they didn't move higher than they are right now because just their last win, really, last couple wins haven't been super impressive. You did just beat the Bears by you need a touchdown drive to win at the end, and you got it, which is impressive. Win's a win, but when you got to start comparing these teams in the top 10, you got to look at some stuff. How are you winning? Even though I do like ugly wins more than pretty losses, but you kind of got to look at how you're winning once you get to the top 10 because these teams are all so close. The Vikings at number 10, though. On to number 9, Chargers moving up 1. Chargers 3-2 team. Did barely beat the Browns. Questionable coaching decisions at the end of the game, but you still got the win. You're 3-2. I feel like this is a very good roster. Do struggle with some injuries, which I feel like is going to hold them back from being a top 5 team at any point in the year. But we'll see how they keep performing. But good quarterback, good defense, solid weapons. This team's still a pretty good football team, in my opinion. I got them at number 9. Bengals at 8, moving down 2 spots. So the Bengals, 2-3 football team. Some people might say, why you have them top 8? Well, they have won. They have won 2 out of the last 3 games. First 2 games were weird. They lost kind of close, fluky games. This team's only lost close games. They haven't lost and gotten blown out. And the O line was new early on in the year. So really looking at the last 3 games, won 2 out of the last 3. The game they did lose was a tough one in Baltimore. You lost on a game-winning field goal for the Ravens. You covered the 3-point spread. You lost by 2 on the road against a very good team. So Bengals still a good football team in my opinion. I think they're going to pick it back up here. So I got the Bengals at 8, moving down 2 from last week. On to number 7, I have the Dallas Cowboys, moving up a whopping 6 spots. This team is 4-1, 4 wins in a row with Cooper Rush as your quarterback. Defense playing like probably the best in football. You just beat the Rams in LA, a game where you absolutely pretty much shut down, outside of one big play, the Rams offense. So I really like what the Cowboys are doing. They're 4-1. Let's see if they can keep it rolling or will they slow down. Big game this week. Play the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. That should be a good one. But on number 6, I got the San Francisco 49ers, who are playing very well. Defense playing like one of the top units in football, up there with the Cowboys. Then you look at the offense, Jimmy Garoppolo and company, Kyle Shanahan, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, that O-line, they seem to start to get things going right now. Put up 37 points on the Carolina Panthers defense, which isn't awful. Carolina Panthers defense can play solid from time to time. Put up 37 points. I believe the game was on the road in Carolina. I really like what the Niners are doing right now. Moving up 3 spots. They're at number 6. On to number 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens moving up 2 spots after a tough division win versus the Bengals at home. Ravens are 3-2. You look at the games they lost, close games to the Bills, they blew a big lead. Close game to the Dolphins, where you blew a big lead. So this team, the 3-2, I don't really think you can have them below anyone. I mean, I guess you could have them below the Niners or Cowboys, and that wouldn't be awful. But I still think they're a better team than the Niners and Cowboys right now. I think their defense started to pick it up last game versus the Bengals, and you still got one of the best quarterbacks in football in Lamar Jackson, and a very good coach in Jim Harbaugh. So I like this team a lot. Big division win they just got. So on Sunday Night Football. So you're moving up 2 spots to number 5. Top 4 all stayed the same for me. You're looking at number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-2 football team, just beat the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe not the most impressive outing, but this is a team where I think they're starting to get healthy. They're going to start to get in a rhythm, and I think that they're going to stay in this top 4 for a good part of the year, maybe most of the year, all of the year. But we'll see how the Bucs continue to play. I don't think that they're a worse team than the Ravens right now. Both teams are 3-2. I really like the Bucs for the rest of the year, but I guess if you could maybe say that they haven't really earned this number 4 spot with their play, although they are 3-2. But I don't think that they've done enough to lose this number 4 spot, in my opinion. So I got the Bucs still at number 4. On to number 3. I think these are the big 3. Really, these could go in any way, but the Chiefs are 4-1. They did have an impressive comeback versus the Raiders on Monday Night Football, down 17-0, ended up winning 30-29. Mahomes is playing like the MVP of football. This team's very good. I got him at number 3, staying put. I can't move him above the top 2 teams. Bills blew out the Steelers to get to 4 or the Bills got to 4-1. So the Bills, I think, are so close to the Eagles. It can go either way. My ultimate separator is the Eagles are 5-0, so you got to give them credit for that. And I did have the Eagles 1 spot above the Bills in my power rankings preseason. So factoring that in, factoring that the Eagles are 5-0, Bills are 4-1, I got to have the Eagles still at number 1 on the power rankings. So I do got the Eagles at number 1, and that's the power rankings. But before I head out, let's look at the trending up section and trending down section. As you see, the Cowboys, Jets, Giants all trending up. Cowboys up 6. Jets moving up 5. Giants moving up 4. Then the trending down section, you see the Dolphins, tough loss, trending down 9 spots. They got some injuries at quarterback. You look at the Jags, another tough loss for that team. After losing, they lost back-to-back games, they're down 5. Then the Packers and Rams are moving down 4 because the Packers lost to the Giants, who are looking pretty good right now. And the Rams lost to the Cowboys. So those teams are down 4. But yeah, that's the power rankings for week 6. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one.